Greetings, everybody. Welcome on in the room. Welcome into the Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement live stream. Greetings, John Ball Z. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Greetings, everybody. Peace, love, light, and blessings to each and every one of you. Welcome to the Soul Awakening Sanctuary live stream session with your host, Chief Apostle Veronica Israel, Chief High Priestess, Global Spiritual Leader, Teacher, Guide, and Founder of the Soul Awakening Sanctuary, and the host of the Sankofa Sessions podcast. Welcome into this virtual, sacred, and safe sanctuary where you are loved, you are respected, you are honored. Join the room. Let us know where your greetings from. Welcome. Thank you, cute Mallory. We're going to have a powerful time today. Our topic is the God they gave you versus the power you were born with. Breaking the spell of spiritual amnesia. So join us today as we have this powerful discussion. Greetings, everybody. Welcome. I hope everybody's had a wonderful weekend. And it's now Monday and we're back live. Going back down memory lane before we start our teaching for today. A song my mother used to play. Anybody remember this song? As you come in the room, please tap the screen, press those hearts, share the live, everybody. Repost, reshare, tag a neighbor, tag a friend. Let someone know that we are here live and we are enjoying each other today as we will be discussing a powerful topic, the God they gave you versus the power you were born with. Breaking the spell of spiritual amnesia. So welcome, sit tight, get relaxed, and let's join in together today. Welcome, everybody. Greetings, Etsani Rose. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Greetings, Yashura Ali. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. As you come in the room, please tap the screen. Let us know where you're watching from. Share this, repost this. Share it to at least 10, 11 people. Let somebody know that we're here live and we are embracing each other in this space of truth, love, and light. Welcome, welcome. Our topic today is going to be the God they gave you versus the power you were born with. Breaking the spell of spiritual amnesia. It's going to be a promising, powerful topic today, so come on in the room. Get your notepad, your journals, get your tea, get settled, and let's join in together and dive into the spiritual teaching. Maybe on your lunch break, come on. Have your little lunch while you're with us today. Oh, yes. When you call on the divine will be right there for you. How do we know? Because we know that the divine is within us. We've been sold on so much things to keep us from really knowing who we truly are, from accessing that power from within. A lot of people are trying to access power, divinity, evolution, being able to evolve, but they are reaching outwardly to get it. But beloved, nothing is going to stick and stay unless you find all you need within and then draw that out into your reality, into the world. So again, welcome to the Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement with yours truly, Chief Apostle Veronica Yisrael. Peace and divine rising, everyone, all of you beautiful souls that have tapped in today. I am your Chief High Priestess, Global Spiritual Leader, Teacher, Guide, Sister, Auntie, Mother, whatever you view me as. And I'm your reflection on this sacred path of remembering. That's what we are here dedicating this live to. This is what we're doing. We're helping everyone who has an ear to hear, a heart to understand, and that want to break away from the chains that have held us bound for years. From the indoctrination, the dogma, the brainwashing, the programming that has caused us to forget who we are. I often say that we're divine beings, we're just not human. We are divine beings. And I know when I said that last week, somebody got in the comments, no, we are not. We're not divine beings. Well, if that's the case, Bible thumper, how do you explain Psalm 82:6? I have said ye are gods and are all the children of the Most High. How do you explain that? We are God in flesh having a human experience. But we've been taught that we are not. We've been taught that we're everything else but divine beings walking here on earth having a human experience. So we're here to remind you of who you are. We are here to remember where we come from. That's what Sankofa is all about. Looking back into the records of our past to get clarity and perspective on the way forward, the path forward. We have to learn from our past so that we know where we're headed. And the first thing we have to understand is what wasn't completed from the generation before us. Because a lot of time we think we're trying to carry a torch where some things hadn't been finished quite yet that we need to finish. As I often use an example that when a president takes the presidency of a country, first order of business is not to implement all the things that they have on their agenda. It's to complete anything that's left on their docket from the past presidency. And hopefully if it's not, he or she don't have to clean up such a mess, they can start moving forward and implementing if they have enough time in their presidency. So we have to do the same. We have to rethink how we're trying to evolve and include looking at the past to get clarity and perspective on the future. If you don't know where you've been, how can you know where you're going? Because remember, an old saying that says, history repeats itself. There's nothing new under the sun. We just go in cycles. And so if you don't understand the cycles your lineage have already been through, you don't have a clue on where you need to steer the ship to go. So before we even ask or begin, I want you to ask yourself this question. Do I serve an entity, a God, that was given to me, or the one that was born within me? Ask yourself that question. Do I serve a God that was given to me? Whether it was given by my parents, grandparents, by the world, by my culture, my religion. Do I serve a God that was given to me? Or the one that was born within me? That's the question I want you to think on before we begin. Greetings, 8th House Awakening. So happy to see you. Hope you're doing well. It's always good to have you in our midst. 8th House Awakening is a wonderful, powerful seer. I call her a priestess. So if you ever need some guidance apart from me, you can always go to 8th House Awakening. She will be sure to give you direction so you can reach out to her, book a session with her, join her lives, which is normally in the afternoon. I think afternoon's right. I'm not sure the exact time, but yes, we're so happy to have everyone. As you join, please tap the screen, share, like, repost, share it to a neighbor, share it to a friend, share it to someone who needs to awaken out of sleep, to awaken to the God that's within them. So share it to at least 10 or 11 people. If you can, we'd appreciate that. And tap the screen. Let the algorithm know that you are enjoying what you're hearing. So again, take a moment to like, share, tag a friend. And if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you never miss a revelation. And if you believe in the power of this ministry and platform and you want to sow into the soul that feeds your spirit, you can do so through Cash App. That is $ capital VSY, lowercase ISRAEL 2021. Again, if you'd like to get to this platform, you can do so through Cash App. That's $ capital VSY, lowercase ISRAEL 2021. No donation is too small or too great to help us. We appreciate all that you do to help us continue to further our message and our reach to the world, because our mission is to awaken the minds of our people, one mind at a time. So as we begin, I forgot to put my mic on. Child. In here rushing to get in here. And I forgot to put the mic on. Sorry, YouTube. Let me put this mic on here. And you are ready to experience a new week full of blessings. I hope you have declared and made your affirmation that this week is going to be one of the greatest weeks in your life. So as we begin, I want you to declare this affirmation with me. I release the God they gave me, and I now reclaim the power I was born with, because I remember who I am. Amen and Ashe. Divine Spirit, the Divine Mother, Creator of all things, Divine Spirit within me, move me into the direction of my highest good this day. Move my mind, my heart, my spirit, my words, my actions, my feet, everything about me to serve in the highest good this day. Amen and Ashe. Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Uriel, Archangel Sariel, Archangel Raquel, Archangel Remiel, higher self, higher team, all angels, guides, and light workers, ancestors of our lineage, here for our highest good and the highest good of all. Please help me to be of service. Please help me to help those I've been called to teach, to lead, guide, in love, light, wisdom, and liberation. For my highest good, the highest good of all, or something better. Amen and Ashe. Again, welcome to the Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement. Here is where we welcome you into this sacred and safe space, this sacred sanctuary for all. This is a place for those who are deconstructing from harmful theologies, those who are looking to free themselves from colonialism, free themselves from indoctrination that have left or are leaving organized religion. Yet they feel a yearning that there's more. and they want to explore spirituality in an expanded consciousness space. And from an expanded consciousness perspective, this welcome home, you've entered into that space where you're free to express yourself, where your divine gifts are honored and not tolerated or silenced. Now let's talk about, remember our topic is the God that gave you us versus the God, the power you were born with. Breaking the spell of spiritual amnesia. Because of this spell that was casted on us, this indoctrination, this programming, we have forgotten our power. We've forgotten our lineage, forgot who we are. And that's why every time I get on this app and others like me, we are reminding you that you're not what people say you are. You are who you predetermine yourself to be. That's what we need to remind you of. That you're not what people say you are, but you are divine. That's right. And you have spiritual gifts. And that's what I've been doing in the series of videos, talking about spiritual gifts. So if you haven't watched that video on TikTok or YouTube yet, go and look it up. Let's see here. On my page, it is, are you running? The title is, Are You Running from Your Life's Calling? Here's how you know. So if you haven't watched that, go and watch that video. It's the fifth video up there on my page on TikTok or on YouTube. Look that up. Are you running from your life's calling? Here's how you know. Because many of us have spiritual gifts, but we've been silenced. We've been told that we're crazy. We've been told that, oh no, you don't have no gift. Not knowing that you have a gift. But you have to be able to stop running from it. Accept it. And the video that I'm going to be putting out later today of our podcast is about learning how to identify your gift. And so be on the lookout for that later this afternoon. So let's deal with spiritual amnesia, because spiritual amnesia is not by accident. So let's get something very clear from the start of our time together. We didn't forget who we were just by happenstance. We were made to forget. How were we made to forget, you may ask? Well, through child enslavement. Another way, through religious programming, which many people are still being held back, not knowing in the dark about who they are because of religious programming. And one of the big ones that have made us forget who we are, it is through colonized theology that taught us to look up to a white sky daddy God while ignoring the divinity that's within us all. That's one of the major things that have caused our downfall and for us to forget who we are. It's because they, through colonized theology, taught us to look up to a sky daddy, a white old man with a long beard called God in the sky, the Heavenly Father, while ignoring the divinity that is within yourself. They taught us to stop looking from within to start looking without. But beloved, if you keep looking without, you're never going to find what you're looking for. Because all that you need, desire, is within. So what did they do? What did the oppressor do? What did the colonizers do? What did those who wanted to render us powerless do to us? Well, they gave us a God who punished, not empowered. If you didn't obey, if you didn't do right, you were punished. A God that punished, not empowered. Then they gave us a Savior to worship instead of consciousness to embody. They gave us something to serve and worship, a Savior, instead of the consciousness to embody. So instead of embodying the Savior, the concept, the consciousness of a Savior, they taught us to worship instead of embody that consciousness. Not only that, our oppressors made us dependent on an outside force. Why? So we never tap into the force that's already living in us. That's the game. The name of the game is to make us dependent, not independent. To make us dependent on an outside force. Thank you for the follow, Mystic. Welcome. And they did that so we won't tap into the force already living within us. So what do you call this? It is spiritual amnesia. And how did we fall into spiritual amnesia? It was a setup. Because the colonizers knew, our oppressors know, that if we ever tap into the God within, the divine power within us, that we would not be able to be controlled. So ask yourself the question, do you want to still be controlled? Or are you ready to walk out of sleep? Are you ready to stop sleepwalking and walk into your divine power? Are you ready to stop being controlled by outside forces? And are you ready to have self-control? Come out of spiritual amnesia, to awaken to your own God, to your own Christhood. So they taught you to worship God, to worship a Savior. They didn't teach you that you are God in flesh having a human experience. They didn't teach you are the Savior that you've been looking for. They didn't teach you that you can embody Christ's consciousness. So now it's time to wake up to the truth. So let's talk a little bit about the colonizer's God versus the God within. What is the difference in the colonizer's God and the God that's within you? That's an inherent. You didn't have to go nowhere to get it. You came into this earth with this divine energy inside of you. So let's break it down. The colonizer's God says obey and suffer, submit and be saved. Wait until heaven to be free and walk on streets of gold. But the God of your ancestors, the divine within you that runs in your bloodline, in your veins, says you are divine, says to speak, create, and command. Live heaven on earth. That is what the God of our ancestors says. That's right, Mystic. God of the colonizers teaches us to remain separate from the divinity. Not that we are one with the infinite source of all. We are connected to the all. We are interconnected to all things. See, that's not what we're taught. We are taught that we are separate. God is holy and apart from us. Not that you are one with the infinite divine source. They teach you to live, the God of the oppressor, the colonizer, teach you to live as a peasant, not to walk in power, dominion, to take pride in yourself, to create the reality, your destiny. No, they don't teach us that. The God of your ancestors teach you that you can create, you can command, you have power in you to live heaven on earth by the thoughts that you entertain and the words you speak out of your mouth. See, our ancestors, we didn't worship a man in the sky. We honored Maat. We honored Neteru. The laws of balance, truth, and cosmic order, universal order, and justice. Our people, our ancestors tapped into Christ's consciousness before Christ was ever Romanized. We lived in harmony with spirit, with our ancestors, and with nature. That is what at one-ment does. Brings you to a sacred, holy union and balance with all that is. So you honor everything because you know that God is within all things and in all people. God is within the trees because everything have energy. And the divine source, energy, is within all things. Energy cannot be destroyed. It cannot die. Just transmute from one form to the other. In the wind, there is the voice of God. These are the things that we have to reconnect with because our whole outlook on the worldview has been skewed by indoctrination. So you may be wondering, how did we fall into spiritual amnesia? How did this religion become the spell that caused us to forget who we were? Well, simple answer. Now, you know, those who in the comments are saying Jesus Christ is the King of Kings, and that I'm teaching blasphemy. Let me tell you this. It's funny that you've not studied. You've not studied anything out of your theological framework that's been given to you. See, belief is not enough to believe in something. You can believe in anything. You can believe the sky is purple. That don't mean it's purple. It's time to stop believing. It's time to start knowing. Knowing. Not to believe, but to know. Do you know or do you just believe? So, how did religion become the spell? Well, the church became the plantation. No, we don't have a so-called plantation anymore. Greeting, Kashmir Unique. Welcome. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Even the Nottoway plantation down in Louisiana burned to the ground. Because our ancestors saying it's time to be vindicated. Let me tell you this. As I often tell people, I'm pro-black, I'm a Pan-Africanist. But just because I love my people and I'm all for my people, that don't mean I hate nobody else. But in order for us to evolve, we have to expose the truth. We have to separate the lie from the truth. And we have to be willing to lay the record straight, set the record straight, lay the truth bare, and let the chips fall where they may. If we're going to ever truly move forward and heal, we have to address the records of the past, what some call history. We have to look at it for what it is, not romanticize things. So if your ancestors did some things that were screwed up, don't be offended when people talk about it because it's true. That's the thing. Greetings, Marina Waves. Beautiful. I hope you're having a wonderful day. So good to see you as always. So when the Nottoway plantation burnt to the ground, it was just not showing or signaling a change, a pivotal shift in the world and the atmosphere. But it not only symbolic that, listen, we're at a new stage of purifying. We have to now come to the table and reason together. What is the way forward? The path forward. So now, no, we don't have the literal plantation where people in the USA are now held as slaves. But we still have a plantation. The church became the plantation. And the preacher replaced the overseer. And the Bible, when misused, became the whip. So do you see it? When people say, oh, slavery is over, slavery been over. Let's be specific. What slavery are you talking about? Chattel enslavement here in the USA is over. Chattel enslavement here in the USA is over. However, slavery still does exist all over the world, included in the US. And it's because it changed form. Because the church is the plantation. The preacher is the overseer. The Bible, when misused, becomes the whip. That's what people do. They use the Bible to browbeat you, to whip you, as it were, into shape. They misuse the Bible and miscue it to cause you to be controlled, to do their bidding, to fall in line with their systematic control. Greetings, awakened in life, 88. That is true. The church says, well, we are sheep. And always remember what sheep represents. Docile, dumb, have to be led. So when somebody calls you a sheep, remember what they're saying, how they view you. A sheep are led to slaughter by the so-called shepherd. So we don't need to be sheep. And the church is the corral where they bring you to break you in. When you go to church and you join and You go through catechism, that's to break you in, to condition you. Thank you so much for being here, Mystic. I hope you have a wonderful day too. Yes, the school systems programs us, condition us to become blue-collar workers. Instead of teaching you that you can be an entrepreneur, you can own your own business, you don't have to work for people. No, the school system is to train you to work, as it were, in the factory of life, to be a consumer and to work for someone else. Sheep. See, they told us sin made us wicked, when in fact colonization made us forget we were sacred. The colonizer, the oppressor, made us ashamed of our rituals, our drums, our incense, our divination, our ancestors. See, we got to lay it all on the table. They gave us the idea of sin, but we know sin is a man-made construct. It didn't come from the divine source. Man created the idea of sin and sold it to us. Why? For mass control. To control us. But may I remind you today that the divine doesn't need permission to exist. Again, the divine does not need permission to exist. Neither do you. Because guess what? You were not meant to beg for what you were born with. I say again, you was not meant to beg for what you were born with. You were born with power. You were born with the divinity within you. You were born with spiritual giftings. And you don't have to beg for the right to be who you are at your true essence. You just need to remember who you are and walk in your divine power. Greetings, Bree, Lady Red. Welcome, Grand Rising. Greetings, everybody. As you join the room, please tap the screen, press those hearts, help us out. Tap, 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 tap. Share this live broadcast. Share it to at least 10 or 11 people. Do us that favor. And if you want to support, give a financial contribution, you can do so. I believe it's in the bio also. It's through Cash App, $ capital BSY, lowercase ISRAEL 2021. We thank you for all that you do to help us continue to further our mission and expanding the consciousness of the masses. Greeting, Miss Kia 777. Hope you're doing well. So let's deal with a little bit about breaking the spell. How do we break the spell that we've been under? How do we break free from spiritual amnesia, from forgetting who we truly are? Well, the first thing we have to do in order to recover and break free from the spell, to come from underneath the spiritual amnesia, to recover, we have to, number one, reclaim ancestral wisdom. The wisdom they labeled heretic, or heresy rather, and named the people who followed heretics. The stuff that they told you was witchcraft, The stuff that they told you is taboo, forbidden, evil. Look into that because that's your ancestral wisdom. But to keep you disconnected and that you won't go and remember who you are and find out what you possess, they put negative labels on it. So, in other words, instead of saying keep out, they put negative labels on it. So you just automatically keep out. You don't go digging. You don't go looking for. And that's why preachers are doubling down now on their rhetoric. Why? Because they know people are starting to look into the truth. People are starting to open their eyes, remove the blinders, remove the veil, start seeing things for what it is, start awakening spiritually, and understanding that, wait, the wool has been pulled over my eye. The wool has been pulled over my eyes, and I've been programmed to believe a lie. But I want to go on a self-discovery journey. I want to go and look deep within myself and find out who I am. Not what the church has said I am. Not what society has said I am. Not what my friends have said I am. Not what my parents have said I am. Not what my culture demands that I am. But I want to find out who I am for myself. Because I have the determination to self-determination, self-preservation. So we have to reclaim our ancestral wisdom. Study Maat. I talk about that often. Study Maat because Maat, what is also called the 42 Laws of Maat, also known as the 42 Confessions, also known, which I fondly call them, the 42 Declarations of Innocence. Because the 42 Laws of Maat, or the 42 Declarations of Innocence, is a mirror in which you look at to see if I'm in alignment with my ancestral wisdom. Am I in alignment with my truth, with my highest ideals? Or have I given my base lower self a seat as the captain? Is fear ruling my life? Is my ego in the pilot seat? Or have I took the time to do the shadow work? Because the difference in religion and religiosity and becoming spiritual and spirituality is that you know that I have to do the hard work. It's not going to happen overnight. Nobody's coming to save me. Nobody's coming to... No, I have to do the work myself. I have to look in the mirror, look at the divine laws that were codified by my ancestors, see if I'm in alignment, see where I'm out of alignment, and bring what I need to do to get myself back on track. Because when we begin to come into alignment, we begin to understand that it's nobody's fault but mine. We used to sing a song in church, it ain't nobody's fault but mine. Nobody's fault but mine. If I die, my soul be lost. Nobody's fault but mine. So in other words, metaphysically, in spirituality, if I don't become my highest ideals, if I don't accomplish my dream goals, if I don't follow my life's path, it is nobody's fault but mine. Why? Because I did not do due diligence. I did not do the shadow work. So that's why so many people in spirituality run back to religion, run back to the church, run back to organized religion in general. Why? Because it's somebody telling you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, when to eat, sleep, take a piss, everything. You're being dictated to how to live your life. But when you wake up, you begin to see, I don't have all of this anymore. Now I have to find out who I am outside of this. Because remember, you are not your job. You are not your career. You are not anything anybody else says. You're not what the church says. Anything. So then you have to go on a discovery. And when you begin your spiritual self-discovery, when you begin to do the shadow work, when you begin to go on a self-love journey, you begin to find out, whoa, I may be more disaligned than I thought. I maybe have more I have to tackle than I thought. I may have to look at my attitude because maybe it's my attitude that's causing me the problems I'm having with people. Maybe that's why nobody likes me, because I have a nasty disposition. And not because nobody hating on me. No, it's because I don't know how to talk to people. That's the thing. That's the thing. Are we willing to really look at ourselves and see that maybe I've been my worst enemy? The inner me, INNER, has been my worst enemy, ENEMY. Could it be that now I'll take ownership and responsibility for the mistakes that I've made, for the poor decisions that I've made, and not blame it on nobody else? So in order to recover from the spell of spiritual amnesia, we have to study Maat. Start researching those ancient principles, those wise ancestral wisdom that was left to us. Begin to research African cosmology. Give up theology, because it ain't worked. It ain't been helping you. Research and study African cosmology, because that's what our ancestors were. They were cosmologists, not theologists. Theologists or theologians. They were cosmologists. Our people, we dealt with the stars, the constellations. We dealt with all of those things. But through programming, they've caused us to get away from that. See, African cosmology is simply the way of our indigenous people, the way of the Africans. It is how we view the world, how we perceive, conceive, and contemplate our universe through our lens, through which we see reality, which then affects our whole worldview and our value system. Because the value system we have now is a Western value system. The Western says, well, as long as you can look up the part, then you're good to go. Western ideology says your worth is in what you can buy, what is in your bank account. Your worth is tied to what you've done. African cosmology value system teaches us your value is on who you are, what your character is about, what you stand for, your principles. See, when it comes to our Black spirituality and our culture, our ancestors told us that a good name will take you further than money can. Respect will take you further than money can. That's what we learned in Black spirituality in our culture and in our communities. That you can have be a millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire. But if you don't have respect for people, you know how to talk to people, you know how to carry yourself, your priorities not in order, you know how to respect yourself, you don't have a good name in your community, ain't nothing all the money in the world can do for you. Because somebody going to say, well, wait a minute, you don't even have a good name in your community. Why should I trust you? Your name ain't good. Everywhere I go, your name comes up in some mess. Think about it. Some of the most religious people in the world, their name is always tied to something that's not good. You know anybody like that? Y'all know anybody on this live? Know anybody that's like that? That then every time their name come up, you know something bad is involved. And nobody has nothing good to say about them. This is the value system and the moral compass for our people. So study Maat, study African cosmology, the way we view the world, because we have to change how we view things. Another thing we got to change from a Western perspective and to an African perspective is how we value our children and how we raise our children. Stop looking like the children are just mini yous. And that it's a burden or responsibility for you to raise them. And after they're 18, they're done. They got to get out. They're on their own. But when we begin to look at it from an African cosmology way, our value system, no, we have a compound where all of our children can build a house and stay amongst each other. We're a village. We take care of each other. We stay near one another. Now, that don't have to be the case for everybody, but I'm saying the Western mindset, well, your children, once they turn 18, they gone. They leave their own house, their own place, all of that. But look at your oppressor, the colonizers. They be taking care of their children, all, some of them stay in the house to who knows when. We have to change our view about our children. That our children, we chose them and they chose us. And they were given to us for a purpose. They help build those shallow areas of you. Your child has come into your life to help you with certain parts of you you're not strong in, to teach you certain values. And so we have to look at that. Greetings, y'all. Esha, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So good to see you too. Glad you're here. Our children are just not our responsibility to take care of or a burden. But it's for us to learn from them as much as them to learn from us. So we have to change our view, how we look at it. Another thing we picked up from the Western world and how they view the world, how we view the divine feminine, how we view women, and how women view men, and how women view each other. We picked that worldview from the Western. That every man for himself, God for us all. You picked that up in the West. That is not an African way. When people always say back in the day, I remember it. I don't know about any of y'all, but when they say back in the day, we could go to each other's house and borrow sugar or eggs or what we needed, and everybody looked out for each other. I remember that time. My mother was one of those people. People say, well, it ain't like that no more. Why? It's because we've adopted the Western worldview. We've adopted our oppressor's way of viewing and being. And we've forgotten and left, utterly ignored our ancestral wisdom, the path that our ancestors have left for us to walk in, their teachings. And that's why it's not like that anymore. People are not like that no more, because guess what? When you say that, you are not like that anymore. Let chips fall where they may. So if you want the world, our Black community, to really evolve, or the world in general, you have to be the change in which you seek. You be the one to start it. Stop waiting for somebody else to do it. Why don't you do it? What's wrong with you leading the torch? Oh, see, honey. Yes, Miss Ya, honey. Yes, go over there. Ask Miss Jones if she got some sugar. Then stop by Miss Jane house and be an egg, and Or you had one neighbor who may have been retired, but they'll give you a ride to the grocery stores. You can get your groceries, or something, or hardly charge you nothing. Give a little something again, something. My father's father, my grandfather, he used to be like that. They used to call him the taxi man. He'd park at a certain place downtown on the main street on the corner and near the grocery store, and people would, hey, can you give me a ride? He'd give them a ride to their house. They give them a little something, whatever. Because back in that town, they ain't had no taxes, honey. And my father's hometown, they didn't have no taxes. So yes, these are the things that we have gotten away from, being a village. That's, oh yes, going to pick up packages, money, all that kind of stuff. We've let that go. See, it's nothing wrong with evolving with the time. It's nothing wrong with progression. But the problem that we have is when we're not taking with us that works. That's a part of our value system that makes us who we are. See, that's the problem. It's not about evolving and going with the times and changing, but it's when we leave the stuff that makes us who we are. That's the problem. Because you can progress without deviating from the path. We've allowed Hollywood to influence us on what to wear, what not to wear, how to dress, what not to dress. Because in our Black spirituality and experience, white is symbolic for rituals and spiritual purposes, and we wear it year round. But according to quote unquote fashion, no, you don't wear white after a certain time of the year. It's after Labor Day. So these are the things that we have to really contend with and look at. Why am I doing what I'm doing? What value is doing this adding to my life? Ask yourself those questions. All these organizations that I'm a part of, is it adding value to my life, or is it taking away? Am I being used as a pawn? They'll use your black face to be a pawn to sell their product, but they won't get you a seat at the table to make the mainline decision. These are the things we have to think about. Do we want to be honest with ourselves? Are we involved with things that are anti-black? Because, honey, it ain't all about the dollar. Some things you got to say no to because it's against your integrity and against your people. Greetings, Brookie K. Brooke K. So good to see you. Hope you're having a wonderful day, beautiful. So yes, some things we got to say no to because that's not going to help our community. It's not going to help our people, and it's going to damage our integrity. Because one thing you learn about black people when we're following our ancestral path, our name and our integrity is utmost important to us. We don't want nothing attached to our name that's going to bring our name down or bring us shame. But now, when we let Western worldview control us in the way they see things, we'll do anything for a dollar. We'll throw our whole community under the bus, long as we get ahead. Greetings, Marco Universal. So good to see you. Hope you're doing well, beloved. Are we doing things that are going to benefit our people? Like people like to talk about Nigeria, how it's corrupt or whatever. Well, hell, where they learn it from? The colonizers. How can an African country be making backroom deals with those who want to invade your land, the ones who colonized you in the first place, and do harm? And they're just trying to do it in another form, take your natural resources. It's because people get greedy and they move away from their value system, their African worldview, African cosmology, and we get into all these little things. But guess what? They still see you as the N word. Don't be confused. The worst thing about it is you being used and you don't know it. The decision that you make, do you think about your people? The first thing people do when they make a lot of money or they've really hit it big, they want to go buy a house or build a house, but it ain't in their community. They go and build it over yonder. Think about that. Why are you so obsessed with going into a neighborhood that's not your people? Think about it. Why you can't be the one to buy up the homes in your community and start rebuilding them, refurbishing up, and raise the value of your community? No, we let other people come in our community and take over. And then we are pushed out. Why? Because we don't take pride in our village. We don't take pride in one another. We don't even see one another as equals. We don't band together for nothing. We allow religion, personal preferences, beliefs, indoctrination separate us. But honey, when they sat down at the Berlin conference, they wasn't worried about what religion was you. They was all about, let's set our differences aside and come get steal these people natural resources. But we can't put our differences aside. Why? Because my religion doesn't allow it. I can't go against my religion. when the whole religion that you practicing is given to you by somebody else who thought you was less than human, who thought you was created to serve them. So you yet want to enable your oppressor? And you're right. Yeah, you should. A lot of us, it's not enough of us caring about our communities that's willing to put the work in to make our communities better, to make our communities a safe space where people want to stay. They don't want to bolt as soon as they get a chance. That's the important part of African cosmology, changing the way we view the world. A lot of our children are not taught to view their fellow black man, woman, sister that they see that's not in their family lineage per se, their immediate family. They don't look at them as family. When some of us was growing up, everybody was your cousin, auntie, you know, the whole village helped raise you. Why have we veered off that path? That now nobody can tell your child anything. Nobody can correct your child. Nobody can help instruct your child. Think about it. You should have people in your community, in your surroundings, that can help rear your children, that can tell your children something for their benefit, that can help correct your children if they're out in the street doing something wrong, to save them from getting in trouble. But we've gotten into this Western thing that nobody can tell my child anything. And now you come up to the school raising hell, and the child saying, yeah, I'm going to call my mama and she's going to come and cuss you out. My mother, of blessed memory, she used to have a saying, don't ever say what your child won't do out of your presence. Because your child will do that and more out of your presence. Don't put nothing past children. My mother always said, she said, you'll make a fool of yourself. Children would do any and everything. They do any and everything out of your presence. So don't say, oh, not my child. My child will never. Oh, never, huh? Oh, okay. Don't ever go up to the school ready to challenge and whatever have you. Seek due process. Get all the facts together. Learn how to handle things in a proper manner. Talking about seeing things the African way. Other people, when they elderly people get sick or can't take care of themselves, the nursing home they go. But that's not our way of doing things. Our way is to take care of our loved ones, to band together, whatever it takes. We got to rotate, siblings got to rotate or whatever to take care of our parents. Why have we lost that? First thing we want to get rid of our parents, put them in a nursing home somewhere. Don't come check on them. Not knowing what will happen to them in these facilities. Take it from me. I've been working in the nursing field ever since I'm old enough to work. I think I was 16 years old when I started. Because my father was a nurse. That was the last thing he was, in his last career. My father, he was a mechanic. He owned several businesses. He owned his own landscaping business. Then he owned a limousine service. Then lastly, he decided to do nursing. And he would take me around with him. And I just fell in love with old people. I just love sitting around. Most of my friends, dearest friends, are old enough to be my grandparents because I love to sit around and hear their sage wisdom. Some people say, you just know so much. Well, honey, I know how to listen good. And I learned to do great observation and how to learn from other people's mistakes. Because life is a great teacher, yes, but not the greatest. The greatest is when you're able to be taught by observing and looking at other people's mistakes and knowing you don't want to make that too. But the respect for our elders, where has it gone? We talk to our elders any kind of way. It's not just because you're grown, you can now talk to your elders any kind of way. That's why some people are going through the things they've done because they have disrespected their elders. And you can never look for a successful life when you disrespect your elders. There's always a way to say something. It's always a better way to get something across that you don't have. See, when you begin to do this work on yourself, you know that you don't have to get down in the mud with people to get your point across. No. When you respect yourself, you don't want to just do any old kind of thing. Think about this, talking about veering and off from the African way into the Western way. Being influenced. Who are you being influenced by? A lot of times we're being influenced by the wrong people, by the wrong influencers. Instead of being influenced by the right type of influence to help you, influence you to do what's better for you, we've been influenced by people that's just trying to get us to do what's trending right now. But it may not be best for your interests. Everybody's looking out for their best interests. You better look out for yours and don't be fooled and beguiled. What happened to our hospitality as a people? What happened to our hospitality as a people? If you remember, at one time in our communities, if you ever came to some of the elders' house, you wouldn't leave without some cake or some food or something. I had one of the church mothers when I was growing up, once I had grown up, and she took me as one of her children. Now, all of her children is much older than me. They're old enough to be grandparents of mine. She was in her 90s. She was almost 100. And her children was from 70, I think one of them 80, late 60s. So, all of them were way older than me. But they took me as their sibling. And I went over to the house to visit. We used to call her Mother Honey. Went to visit Mother Honey. But don't you know, but I was sitting there talking, chatting, laughing about 15 minutes. Next thing I know, my sisters, Mother Honey's daughter, say, all right, come on, let's eat. It's lunchtime. They had, just like that, went in there and had a whole meal prepped on the table. Talking about hospitality. Our love for our people. That we'll pitch in and help our people. It wasn't about a my for and no more. G. Spartan said they still do that in their household. Wonderful. Now we have to get that spirit amongst our people. that we begin to turn inwardly. We've done so much to help others. Why don't we turn inwardly and help ourselves, help our own communities? Everybody else is in our community taking our money and don't value or respect us. Why don't we put our money to good use? Think about it. Put it back in your community. Stop carrying it over there to everybody else that's in your community, that's not from your community, but they are there to get your money. Things to consider. So, yes, the first thing to do to break free from spiritual amnesia, to break the spell, you have to reclaim ancestral wisdom. Study Maat. Study African cosmology, the ways of the Africans, our indigenous people. Then study the Esoteric Christ, not the colonized one. Because the concept of a Christ is older than whom you call Jesus. The concept of Christ predates the character Jesus. The Esoteric Christ, not the one they sanitized and made European, blue eyes, hair, and gave it to you. And begin to see how you can embody the Christ consciousness. Yes, absolutely, G. Spartan. Food giveaways, all of these things to help our communities. As I said before, there are some churches that do food pantries, but that are given to them to distribute to communities. But guess what they do? A lot of them, they go through all the good stuff and keep it for themselves and give the rest to the public. But you say that you believe in love and helping people. Yet, how is it when you keeping all the good stuff for yourself, when the stuff that you got is supposed to be given to the public? Misusing our gifts, misusing things that have been put in our hands to do, mismanaging this is the thing to ask yourself. Have I mismanaged, misused my power? Have I mismanaged or abused the authority that's been given to me? Instead of doing good, I've done irreparable damages. Greetings, those of Ugandas in the house. Yes. Have a giving spirit. That's the way of the African. Love to give, to help. But oftentimes we are giving to people who mean us harm. Learning how to vet people properly. A lot of times we embracing the enemy. And it has not helped. Want to have a kumbaya with those who want to take you out is not wise, beloved. Everything is not a kumbaya event. So don't make it. Everybody that's your color skin ain't your kin. Or let me say it again. Everybody with your color skin ain't your kin. Because some of them have the mind of the colonizer and the oppressor. We should not stand up for anybody who's a threat to our community, even if they come from our community. Because yes, we have to protect our community, even from those of us who want to destroy it. We have to protect ourselves from them. Even Yeshua, the master teacher, commonly called Jesus, says, be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. Meaning, don't fool yourself and don't be fooled. Use wisdom. Don't be gullible. So we have to reclaim our ancestral wisdom to break this spiritual amnesia. Second thing we have to do is unlearn to remember. Some things we have to unlearn to learn. We have to be willing to let go of the fear-based beliefs, fear-based doctrines, indoctrinations, and dogma, the limiting beliefs that no longer serves us. We have to be willing to let it go. Those fear-based doctrines and beliefs that keep you in shame and stagnation. You gotta be willing to let that stuff go because it's not helping you. Believing that you're a sinner. Who told you you were a sinner? Who sold you you was a wretch undone? See, this messes with your self-love complex. It begins to instill self-hate in you. You're a sinner. You're worthless. I was thinking about this morning. How many times I've heard people say, I'm nothing without the Lord. I'm nothing. I'm nothing without God. Before I came to church, I was nothing. I was a wretch undone. Anybody heard this one? I wasn't fit to live and I sure wasn't ready to die. Anybody heard that one before? Now, what kind of self-image are you portraying when you say that I'm nothing without God? Well, honey, God is within you. Now, we're not talking about the colonized one that was given to you. Remember, we talk about the God that was given to you versus the power that's within you. Breaking the spell of spiritual amnesia. You were given a God that served the oppressor and the colonizer. And many of us, if we're honest, we're yet serving the God of the colonizer and the oppressor. Truth be told, a lot of people like to say, oh, honey, I belong to the AME church. African Methodist Episcopal. I belong to the Baptists. The First African Baptists. And I ain't no colonizer. But guess what? All of those churches that were founded by Black people, where did they come from before they started that Black church? They all were in the colonizers' church, the oppressors' church. And then they got tired of being mistreated, not given full communion, full fellowship, so they went and started their own. Doctrine didn't change. Just one that was welcoming and accepting to people of African descent. The face of the movement don't change the content. That's what we got to understand. These ideas and teachings that have been given to us that keeps us stagnated in shame. You know you love R&B, rhythm, and blues, and you like a to hear a little Beyonce. But the church has taught the Beyonce music is demonic. So you can't listen to it. That's what we're taught. No, you can't listen to that kind of music. It ain't godly. Rhythm, music, it's part of the language of the heart. It speaks a message to the hearer. And the message is not the same to everybody. See, a lot of times, oh, you can't go to the bar, you can't go to the club. That's not what holy people do. Who said that? Who taught you that? Because why do the God of your understanding only works if you meet it at the church house? How come the divine cannot be found on the dance room floor? This is the thing we have to think about. When we move from the Western view, colonized view of things, and look at the spiritual way of the African. And we know spirit is in everything. Energy, the divine. God by all names is within all things and is everywhere, in everything. Now, let me give you an example. There was one time I felt the presence of my ancestors. I felt the presence of the divine so strong. And you know what that was? It was not in a religious setting. It was not at a shrine. It wasn't in a temple. Wasn't in a mosque. Wasn't in a church. That place where I felt that sacred divine presence so strongly was in a bar. On the dance floor where they were playing house music. But anybody that knows about house music, they gospel and house and the beats. And they were playing some gospel in a house music style. And you could feel the presence of the divine and the spirit and the energy of all of us that were on the dance floor dancing. You would have thought you was at a Pentecostal service. I almost went up in a praise on a dance. So stop letting people bind you to their limiting beliefs. I've gone to karaoke at a bar. People sipping on whatever they're drinking, singing gospel. And all of a sudden, the spirit of the divine swept over the place. I'm telling you about what I've experienced, honey. Not the indoctrination the church taught me, honey. And I could not experience those experiences until I let go of the indoctrination and the limiting beliefs, the fear-based beliefs that kept me in a shame and stagnation. Those beliefs kept me stagnated in a feeling of shame and guilt. But it wasn't until I let go that old paradigm and learned that the divine was in me and it's in me wherever I go. They used to sing a song, "Take the Lord along with you everywhere you go." Take the Lord along with you everywhere you go. Well, if that's the case, then wherever I am, the divine is. There's no separation. It's not like the holy angels and the divine going to stop at the door while you go in the club or the bar or wherever you're going. And they're going to be outside waiting. See, these are things that we're taught. We have to let go of the Western idea, the Western view of the world, even of family. In Black spirituality and Black culture, we don't look at stepmother and stepfather. No. We're family. Drop the step. Drop the half brother and sister. We don't have that. Your brother or your sister may not have the same mom or dad, but we're brothers and sisters. My father, and my father's mother were never married. And a lot of her children, my grandmother's children, had different daddies. Along with, so my grandfather, my father's father, had a lot of children with someone else, different mamas. However, they didn't call each other half siblings. They didn't believe in that. This is my sister. This is my brother. Simple as that. They honored the so-called stepmother as their mom. That's what we do when we look at things, even family, from an African cosmology, our way of life, how we view things. We take care of our elderly. We don't push them off on other people. Having worked in the nursing field ever since I was 16 years old, I can tell you some of the horror things I've seen. Especially when you don't constantly, frequently check on your parents, your family members. When you don't, those are the ones that are treated the worst. But when you constantly coming, frequently there, popping up, oh yeah, they're going to make sure they treat your family member right, because at any time, y'all can pop up and they're going to be a problem. So we have to unlearn to remember. Unlearn to remember. Unlearn the lies that you've been taught. To accept meager wages, to accept the treatment, ill treatment that people give you, to be walked over, to be meek and humble like a lamb. That's docile talk. Greetings, C Royal 8. Greetings, Stacy Cruz. Bless you. Welcome. Peace, love, and light to everyone. Greetings, Mr. Yes, I Believe. Everybody, take a moment to tap the screen for me. Tap the screen, press those hearts, and share this live, everybody. Do that for me right quickly. Tap the screen. Come on in the room. Tap the screen and share this live. So let's unlearn those things that we've been taught that hold us captive in order to remember who we truly are. Another thing we have to do, the third thing we have to do to reclaim our divine power, to break free from spiritual amnesia, we have to command our reality. Command your reality. Stop waiting on God to move. That's a little tagline people like to use, a little phrase. I'm waiting on the Lord. I'm waiting on God. For what? What you waiting on? No, just be honest. That you're afraid, that you're living in fear, that you're scared to make a move. So stop waiting on God. Stop using that. You waiting on some courage to do the needful. So there's no such thing. I'm waiting on God. Stop waiting on God, because God, the divine within you, is waiting on you. You're not waiting on God. God waiting on you. Because the divine God, energy, source, light is within you. So there's no waiting on God. God's waiting on you. What are you waiting on? What are you waiting on to do that what you need to do? What are you waiting on to make the better decisions for yourself? What are you waiting on to go and make a business plan? What are you waiting on to go and start that career? What are you waiting on to go back and go to school and get that education? What are you waiting on? What's holding you back? Stop using children as an excuse, honey. Stop using, oh, I got kids and I'm married. Stop. Reason why I can tell you to stop? Because I was using it as an excuse too one time. Then I said, wait a minute, when these children are gone and grown, when this marriage might last, it might not. What am I going to be left with? Starting over again? From the bottom? Oh, no, 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 no. So I decided to invest in me. Went back to college. Invest in myself. So let me ask you the question. Why are you not invested in yourself? Some of us are so invested in other people. You invested in your children, invested in your marriage, invested in your family, your neighbors, your parents, your siblings, your cousins, invested on a job. You invested in the church, in your spiritual community. You invested in everything. The question is, when are you going to be invested in your own life and affairs? When are you going to be invested in you and accomplishing your goals, your vision? When are you going to be invested in seeing something through for you? You're there for everybody else. You support everybody else. But when are you going to support yourself? We're not worried about somebody else supporting you. No, when are you going to support yourself? Because nobody's going to support you until you start supporting yourself. Nobody's going to come and invest in you until they can see you are investing in you. How you want somebody to see the value in you? You don't see the value in your own self. You shouldn't just get up and get beautiful and dolled up just because you got a date. You need to get up and get dolled up every day because you are who you are, honey. I remember I had somebody tell me one time, a fellow sister, colleague, she said, oh, so you wear makeup every day you get dressed? I said, yes, I do. I get dressed up now every single day. This even when I said, honey, even if I'm just sitting in the house by myself, ain't doing nothing. Because it ain't about being seen. It ain't about something. It's about me because I know who I am. And I represent. It reflects the way I talk, the way I walk, the way I carry myself. This is the thing. Take pride in yourself. Sisters, take the bonnets off when you're going outside. I don't care if you're just going to take the mail. Take the bonnet off. It don't cost nothing to get a little wig, except on your head if you're having a bad hairdo. You got some scarves, different things. It's ready-made. You can put on your hair. These are things. Look after yourself. Because if you don't preserve you, you're not going to be there. You're not going to be able to be there for anybody else that you love and support. So you got to take care of yourself. Pour some self-love into yourself. Self-love is not only going to get a mani-pedi, get a facial, get a massage. No, that's not all self-love is expected to be. Do I make the decision that's best for me? Do I learn to tell no to other people so I can say yes more to myself? To things that are important. See, that's what self-love is about. It ain't all about just, doing different things. It's about loving yourself enough not to lower your standard for somebody who you know is not good for you. Somebody who's shown you that they don't respect you, yet you tolerate them just to say, I'm with somebody. Self-love is saying, no, I deserve more, and I'm not going to take less than I deserve. Not being uppity is being loving to yourself and making the right decision for yourself. This is what we have to come to. So know that you have to command your reality. Stop waiting on God to move. God is waiting on you. So to break free from this spell of amnesia, the spiritual amnesia, 1, reclaim ancestral wisdom. 2, unlearn to remember. 3, command your reality. Stop waiting for something to happen to you. Be proactive. Make something happen. And number 4, practice spiritual sovereignty. In order to break away and free from the spell of spiritual amnesia, you have to learn to practice spiritual sovereignty. Well, what does the word sovereignty mean? Have you ever considered that we are sovereign? Some of us have never considered that we are sovereign. We've been taught, well, God is sovereign. Well, God is in me. The divine is in me, not in the sky. Guess what that makes? That makes me sovereign, a divine agent. Sovereignty means supreme power or authority, jurisdiction, or autonomy. You have your own self-autonomy. Nobody can make the choices for you. Nobody can make you do anything. You have a choice. You always have a choice. Let nobody fool you, and don't ever let it come out your mind anymore. Oh, I didn't have a choice. You have a choice. It's just which choice you're gonna make is the question. All of us have a choice. The question is, what choice are you going to make? Which sacrifice are you willing to take to see your goals through? To see you accomplish that what you want to accomplish, to see it through. So practice spiritual sovereignty, practice spiritual autonomy, practice in your own jurisdiction over yourself. What do I mean? Chief, what do you mean? Connect with your higher self. Connect with your higher self, connect with your guides, connect with your inner power. Know that you have spiritual sovereignty over yourself. Self-determination. You determine for yourself what course your life is going to take. How are you going to get to where you're trying to go? So connect with your higher self, with your guides that are here to guide you, your ancestors in the spirit world, your inner power. Reconnect with it. Let it guide you. Because this is something for you to remember. You don't need a middleman, middle woman. Why? Because you are the temple. You are the sanctuary. You house the sacredness of all that is. Because you are the sacred text. And you're living it out every day. So I want you to breathe in real good and breathe out. Breathe in real good, then breathe out. I want you to put your hand over your heart. And I want you to repeat after me. Affirm this together. I release the God they gave me. Come on, I release the God they gave me. And I reclaim the power I was born with. I remember who I am. A divine being. God in human flesh. Having a human experience. Amen and Ashe. Family, it's time to wake up. We've been asleep so long. It's time to wake up. It's time to reconnect to the divine spark that's within. And if this live stream spoke to your soul, I want you to share it now. Let others break the spell to help others to break the spell of spiritual amnesia. And if you believe in what we're doing with this platform, support it today. Sow a seed into this soil. You can do so through Cash App. That's dollar sign capital VSY, lowercase ISRAEL 2021. Again, you can give your financial contributions to help this platform. You can do it through Cash App, dollar sign capital VSY, lowercase ISRAEL 2021. We appreciate all of your gifts and your donations, your likes, your shares, your comments, all of your online gifts that you give. We appreciate everything that you do to help this platform. We appreciate you. Remember, join us every Monday through Friday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Every Monday through Friday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. We are here live on TikTok and YouTube. We stream simultaneously live on both of these. So if you ever, those on TikTok, if you ever want to go back and listen to the live and review some things, because repetition helps you get it into your subconscious mind, go over to YouTube. Follow us on all social media platforms at Chief Apostle Veronica Israel. But YouTube is where all of our long content is. It's our hub, our home for everything. You can find it over on YouTube. And if you like what you hear and you want more than just a live stream, you want to be a part of our spiritual community, you can reach out, send us a message today by email. You can do it, or you can message the platform and let us know, and we will get the information you need to join our spiritual community, the Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement, where we are awakening everyone one mind at a time, and you can have a space to learn with like-minded people and really expand your consciousness, your awareness, and have a spiritual advisor and teacher, all those, and there's many other things that are available to you as being a community member. So reach out to us today, and if you want to book a spiritual consultation, if you want to book a coaching session one-on-one, or any of the other services that are available to you through us, you can reach out and let us know that you want to book a session, and we'll help you book a session with us. And so always remember that. And so this has been the Soul Awakening Sanctuary with your host, Chief Apostle Veronica Israel, the Chief High Priestess, Global Spiritual Leader, Teacher, Guide, and your prophetic voice for this platform of the Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement, and the host of the Sankofa Sessions podcast. So I want to remind you before we close today, you are not who they say you are. You are who your ancestors knew you to be. And they prayed for you to come into this existence, this earthly existence. And so make them proud by honoring them and doing what you need to do to grow, to become your highest ideals, the best that you can become. Always remember, you are powerful, you are creative. You are the epitome of the divine consciousness that created the universe. You are God in flesh having a human experience, and never let anyone, any ideology, any philosophy, any theology, any indoctrination, or church dogma, or anyone's negative opinion of you tell you differently. Always know that if it is true, and I believe it is, that we are all created in the image of the divine creator. That makes us a co-creator with the divine. And that makes us a creator in our own right. So create your reality, because you create it. You create your destiny. And you create your reality by the thoughts that you entertain and the words that you speak out of your mouth with intentions. Know that you can create your reality. So stop wasting your words. Stop cursing yourself and speak what you truly desire, and stop speaking what you really don't want to see. Because what you thought and entertained, the thoughts you entertained yesterday and the words you spoke yesterday have you living your current reality today. And what you think and entertain in your thoughts today, and the words in which you speak today, is creating your future tomorrow and beyond. So be aware of that. The power of your words. You have power. Learn how to use it properly. And if you don't, join our movement and we'll teach you how to manifest your reality, how to use your words to bring about the desired reality that you truly want to see in your life. We love you all. Always remember the presence of God divine in me loves the presence of God divine in you. Never forget that you are wonderfully, perfectly made, and never let anybody tell you who you are. Never let nobody shame you into walking in your authenticity. Be who you are and forget what everybody else says. I love you all. Until next time, peace be with you all. Love you all. Be here tomorrow, 12 noon. See you then.